Politico is now reporting that the White House and Democrats, including the DNC, now say the game plan to stay in power is change the narrative away from the economy to their success on COVID-19, politicizing a pandemic. What do you say?
I say their success has been a complete failure. I mean, they're not addressing still shortages with testing materials. The issue of immunity, natural immunity versus vaccines. They want to continue to push vaccines when now the data is pretty clear. The science is very clear. Natural immunity is just as good as vaccine immunity. And the study out of Israel says it's as much as 27 times more. So these guys are going in the wrong direction on the pandemic. They went on the wrong direction in Afghanistan. They're wrong on the southern border. They're wrong on the economy. All they can do is spin. That's their best hope, Liz.
You know, the vaccine mandate that the president wants for businesses, it could end up in a Supreme Court fight. OSHA is submitting the initial text already. The White House press secretary is saying the president will override the Republican governors of Texas and Florida who want to ban and stop vaccine mandates inside their states. Let's watch Florida Governor Ron DeSantis here.
So I think the coercion is just totally wrong. I think it's destroying trust in public health to the extent that there was still trust left over after all the stuff that's been done. But I think it's really, really negative, and I think you're going to end up driving people away.
You know, the thing is, so Congressman, correct us if we're wrong. Everybody talks about that 1905 Supreme Court decision. That decision says the power for this belongs to the states, not centralized government. And the 2012 Supreme Court Obamacare ruling says the government cannot regulate vaccines effectively at like interstate commerce. So how is this going to be constitutional?
Well, there's a couple of, and you started this questioning with it's going to wind up in the Supreme Court, and it absolutely is going to wind up in the Supreme Court. California judges have already ruled that the vaccine mandate is appropriate, and then you've got Texas judges that are basically blocking United Airlines from firing people over the vaccine mandate. So this will wind up being solved or decided by the Supreme Court. But the issue with DeSantis, the point he is making is that states are sovereign. And what a lot of people forget, because our civics education, the curriculum is so poor, we're focused more on critical race theory than teaching civics in our schools. Our civics is very clear. The sovereignty belongs with the states. The states formed the federal government, and the powers given to the federal government are articulated in the Constitution. And just the opposite is true inside the states. The states actually form the municipalities. So the power rests with the governors and the state legislatures. They make the decision, and that's why the Supreme Court in 1905 ruled just the way they did. States have the power.
Congressman, LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva, he says he will not enforce the mandate there. Watch this.
I cannot afford to lose 5 to 10% of my employees overnight. I believe in the vaccine. I believe in the science. But if someone else who is an employee does not believe in that, who am I to impose on them my belief system? I have a board of supervisors who are embracing this woke alternate universe where somehow they just, you know, send off edicts like Moses coming down from the mountains and everybody's going to snap to attention and make them happen. I have to deal in reality. And that is a very dangerous and nonsensical mandate.
How does the COVID-19 vaccine mandate stack up against the vaccines for smallpox, measles, and mumps and the like?
Well, I think you're asking a question about, you know, different vaccines for different illnesses, and each is unique to that particular illness. But clearly, we've got a lot more longitudinal data on those. Most of the vaccines before they were put into place were tested for decades. I mean, in some vaccines, it was 40 plus years before they actually got to FDA approval. So that's probably the biggest difference here. But, you know, this guy's right. I mean, 10% of the force gone in a day. There are hospitals that are shutting down their labor and delivery wards because they are having to enforce this or are enforcing the mandate. It makes no sense. And you think about, I do a whiteboard Wednesday on my webpage every week, my Facebook page. And this week I'm talking about 600,000 military people that aren't vaccinated that may be kicked out. That's insane. The idea of that, I mean, you really can't be that stupid, but that's what Biden is saying.
And the other thing, too, is it's that, the states enforce the vaccine mandates for smallpox and measles and the like. It was up to the states to move on that. So, it's interesting that American and Southwest Airlines say they're not going to, go with the Texas ban on vaccine mandates. So you're right. This does look like a big Supreme Court fight in the making. Congressman Mark Green, it's so great to have you back on. Come back again soon.